Good afternoon. And I would like to start with the quiz. I mean, do you know how many active internet users India has? Any guesses? Active internet users? So according to the latest Kantar report, it's 886 million, 88.6 crore. That's a huge number. So let's begin with the serious conversation now. So I will start with Ashish, right? So Ashish, everyone talks about, integrating physical and digital channels to create frictionless experiences. What is the secret? What is the strategy? How to do it?
Thank you so much. Very nice question. I think it's a very simple answer to that. Data, technology, and human interaction. Connecting these seamlessly is essentially where the brand journey is headed. And that's something that needs to kind of be defined by brands to ensure that the connect that people have in the digital space, whether it's on the website, whether it's on the app, whether it's on social media, that same experience translates seamlessly when they are interacting in person at the point of purchase or in retail and in-person interaction. The same journey has to continue, and that's essentially what would create a frictionless omni-channel experience for customers.
Yeah, so now coming to Priyaranjan, how do you ensure, that your customer engagement is at the best at your stores? And can you also share any, recent examples where you feel that the customer journey from entry to purchase to feedback has been a standout?
Okay, so for us, trial is a very big part of our business. Customers walking into our store trying a pair of denims is of utmost importance, and it's extremely difficult nowadays to get somebody to walk into a mall, park their car, and come to this store. So there are two ways that we look at it, right? So one is we are building our models to understand what our consumer is looking at, what kind of purchase decisions or tick boxes he or she is doing before coming and purchasing the product. But we're also very closely looking at what else they're doing in their life. So quick commerce is a very big thing for us. Partners like Zomato are very big for us. So as a fashion brand, we've also found a niche in people who love to enjoy experiences. I'm sure all of us have heard about what has happened after COVID in terms of consumption, in terms of spending monies on more experiences than product. And we've been parallelly working with these guys who are already established or who are doing a lot of insightful consumer journey experience developments on their apps. So if we have a campaign, and this is a real example, we had a campaign called Take Me Somewhere. This was last summer. And Take Me Somewhere, what we did was we just extended it across all the apps. So Make My Trip, Book My Show, Zomato, and we created experiences for people. So when you went on Zomato, you actually had a Pepe Jeans Take Me Somewhere tab, which opened up into multiple tabs which said, take me for a coffee, take me for a dinner, take me for a quick snack. And then, of course, it was already integrated with your PIN code location. So you would see the same set of restaurants even if you had not clicked on that tab. But here, Pepe just came into the picture as, something different in terms of engagement with the audience. And to our delight, we did about 450 orders through that page. For our offline stores, now what we're actually doing, and I hope this experiment comes through, we're working with a bunch of IITians, to experiment with this concept called try and buy at your home. And a lot of people, have issues in terms of parking. They don't have the time, they don't want to experience, mall culture anymore as it was before. So what we've done is anybody who's browsing through our website and we know a store is nearby through Facebook geotagged ads, we push them an ad saying try at home in the next 2 hours. So somebody can book 10 garments. 10 garments are sent from the store to the consumer's house. He or she buys whatever they want and returns the rest. So we've started doing that. Bangalore is the city that we've started doing this. And we intend to do it in bigger cities, but Bangalore has been the most receptive. I would not want to share the actual numbers right now because they're not that big, but we've been growing from 5 to 10 to 15 to 20 orders. Now we're in a good double-digit space, trying to push it to 100 orders plus in a day. what this is also doing is it is telling us which customers, want to try and are not only e-commerce driven. They want the product right then. And that is also pushing us to tie up with partners like Zepto, like Blinkit, Flipkart Minutes, and the rest of it. So it's an interesting, plan of action for us, because it's very important that we differentiate ourselves, one, with product, and I think a lot of brands are pushing premium product now, but then how do you change the experience of buying and consumption for them, and giving them an additional reason to buy apart from price, brand heritage, and product quality. So those are the things that we are doing in terms of touch points and, and innovating in terms of reaching them when they least expect you to reach out.
Yeah, quite interesting, I guess. Rakesh, so I think Ashish talked about, blending digital and physical experiences. But for your sector, I think marketing usually sells the dream, but people buy home just once or twice in their lifetime. How do you work towards, enhancing your customers' experience, and what are the lessons learned over the last few years, post-COVID, basically?
Okay. Yeah, thank you. So as I was saying, housing is actually one of the most involved product category. And as you rightly said, about 95% of the people buy home only once in their lifetime. And when they buy home, it is actually not one person's decision. The entire family gets involved in that. And also the person would like to take references from the friends and family, the near and dear ones. And then people would like to go through, a cycle of being, let's say, maybe a passive intender to becoming an intender, and then, trying to make a short listing of the projects, and then trying to reach out to the projects, and then considering evaluation and all that. But for us, as a real estate builder, the journey of the customer does not just end at when the customer decides to make the purchase. It has to go on beyond that. The entire life cycle, because the projects are delivered over 3 to 5 years, the lifetime of the project, when you deliver the project. So during that process, the demands have to go to the customer. The customer has to be kept updated on the construction milestones and the progresses. And also, once in a while, we would like to bring the customers to the site and do certain programs for them in order to continue to have their positive intent and also to have the positive rub-off on the brand. We roughly get, as a brand, Rustomji is in a space where we get about 20 to 25% of our sales from referral, loyalty and referral customers. So our existing customers buy more, or they refer to their friends and family to buy from us. Now, because of all these high involvement activities, actions, problem statements from the customer side, this technology has actually given us huge amount of opportunity to personalize and customize our experience with the customers. So when the customers are shortlisting the property, we can show the property to them, the apartments, we can show them various apartments, what can suit their requirement. We can show them, depending upon the family's requirement, a highly personalized pitch can be made. Suppose somebody wants a pet-friendly project, you can show that. Somebody has got young children and they want to have focus on the educational institutions, or, how do you study, or maybe building the community, what kind of social network you can provide to people. So the technology has provided us, one, to help us reach our target audience, make them interested in our projects, facilitate their site visits. Then after that, showcasing the product to them, showcase to them in the ways which will appeal to the target audience. And then, the purchase experience, showing them, the views from a particular location or site. And then the purchase experience, sharing the updates with them. And then after that, the entire possession experience, because when we hand over the project, hand over the apartment to the customer, the one unit has to go through more than 110 checks. And then all those checks happen, the snagging, de-snagging happens, and everything is done. So the technology has actually made it easier for us to manage all these things. What I have not yet spoken in between, which is also beyond the sales and marketing domain, is the entire construction management process. So there, before the projects are launched, we are able to, make the plans, understand, what kind of requirements of material, use that for the indenting purposes, costing purposes. So the digitization and availability of technology is really helping us a great deal, especially in the last 3 to 4 years after the COVID period. What we've also seen is that the evaluation time, the purchase cycles have gone down. We would see that for a 5 crore ticket size, customers would take about 4 to 6 months time to conclude on a property. Now that has come to about 1 week or, maybe a few weeks time, less than a month time. So that is the kind of, the TAT that we are experiencing. So in a nutshell, I would say, real estate industry, while I think till a few years back, could have been a bit of a laggard in terms of using technology. But in the last 3 to 4 years, real estate industry has really come up in a big way in terms of personalization, creating content, creating video, developing different kind of content basis the customer's requirements, and also the hyper localization, because 50% of our audience comes from the same micro market. Within the 5 kilometers people want to buy the project, so we are able to more sharply reach out to those customers. I can go on and on, but I think I just wanted to give a glimpse of how technology is helping us.
Very interesting insight indeed.
Yeah.
I mean, you said ki purchase time has come down from 4 to 5 months to a couple of weeks. That is really interesting. You're talking about Mumbai or maybe in general India market?
No, I'm talking about Mumbai, and I'm talking about India market also. And just a couple of more points. I mean, we can. So we've got CRM. So when the customers come and visit us, we obviously, you would like to understand as much as possible about your customer. The family size, office location, home location, the automobile that the customer use, or the locations where the customer goes. The holidays, etc., etc. So all this information actually helps us to personalize and customize our sales pitch with the family, and we can use that to create even the marketing collaterals also. The properties which are high ticket size, about 20-30 crores, 10 crores, there people want the flexible spaces. They don't necessarily want a 5-bedroom house. They may still want a 2-bedroom, 3-bedroom house in a 5,000 square feet home, but they want a lot of flexible areas which can be converted to their requirement. So I think this line is very, very interesting, and it is using technology in a great manner. So thanks to the people from the technology industry who are really enabling us.
Yeah, thank you. Rakesh, actually, he shared a lot on, customer experience and kind of empowering customers with the insights and all. So now coming to you, Rupesh, I would like to know, how do brands empower their customers for a greater experience through their journey? I mean, we already heard Rakesh, but I would like to know about, most of the categories. You can, basically broaden your answer. How brands empower their customers for a seamless journey? And is there a hack?
Hello. Yeah.
Is there a hack, whereby feedback, praise, and everything comes, in real time?
All right. Okay. Fantastic. So brands, when they think about empowering customer journeys, I think the focus has to be long-term relationships and delivering value, because it is that makes sure that customer sticks with them in the first place, right? Demonstrated experience, of course, comes a long way. That happen in a quick time, right? And making sure we get the necessary intel to keep the conversation moving. And that's my add to it. And a lot of work is going in AI. I mean, there's a lot of adoption with respect to text, with respect to analyzing text, with respect to automating responses, etc. There are also a lot of growing areas where some of the leaders in the industry have already adopted to even understanding emotional cues, products that are there that helps you understand emotional cues in conversations. So these are some of the constructive aspects that we can look into when you want to evaluate or you want to empower a customer's journey.
Yeah, very interesting perspective indeed. And now coming to you, Yatnesh, well, we have discussed, B2C perspective. We would like to understand from you, what are the key aspects of engaging B2B customers?
Okay, good evening, everyone. I will take a cue from what Rupesh has mentioned. The purchase journey are not linear anymore, whether it's the B2C or whether it's the B2B. If the customer is going to buy the jeans, or customer is going to buy the flat or house, or customer is going to B2B customer is going to buy the product from us, they all going through the exploration and evaluation. The only thing is there are degree changes. When the B2C, you have the exploration evaluation is the lesser level than the B2B, because the stakes and the value and volume both are different. Now we have both the categories B2C and B2B. We have the larger business in B2C than the B2B, but B2B, the customers like the big furniture brands which you guys hear, most of them they buy product from us as a material. In the B2B, what you have to do, you have to create a content and material which is more for the conversion of your sales page. And that is not just the stimuli like the customer where they have to take the immediate decision, because he will go more deeper on this thing in terms of the product specs, in terms of the product uses, or in terms of the further services of the product. So we create lot of those kind of the tools for them. We have some of the digital tools where we work onto the loop. We call it the lead to the discovery, and then order them to reason to re-engage. But the only thing, but I think the overall process remains the same, whether it's B2C or B2B.
Okay, nice, very nice here. So now coming to you again, Ashish, what are the biggest challenges in customer segment as of now, emerging challenges?
Well, I would say that disjointed experience that customers have when you talk about multiple channels, like whether it's physical, whether it's digital, at the end of the day, how do you ensure that that consumer, that customer, your end user is having the same experience across all these? So just to give you an example, this recent project that we carried out for one of the biggest brands in the country, HUL, ensured that the last mile, which is the retailer that interacts with the customer, has the seamless experience that that they want to give through their commercials, through their messaging, by making the retailer the hero. Now, how that was done is by using generative AI, by only getting the retailer to upload one single selfie onto their site and getting that entire thing coming back to the retailer in a WhatsApp message with the brand imaging, with the product that's being pushed out, and making the retailer the hero in the entire process. Now, this is something which ensures that the entire journey for the customer, from seeing the commercial to interacting with his retailer and getting their hands on the product, has been seamless. And that's how we've used generative AI in multiple such scenarios. That's one. There are multiple other such scenarios where the end user gets to have that frictionless experience that the brand is trying to give out, and that's where somewhere generative AI has played a major role, and that's what we are basically pushing. And
ways of looking at it, one who have adopted it and who are moving ahead with it, and the others who say, this is not going to change much, and human involvement is always going to be key. The way we are looking at it is we'll follow where our consumer goes, right? If our consumer base changes and wants more AI-driven messaging, more AI-driven segmentation and so on, we will quickly move that way. But for us in the fashion industry, I think one very big use case is actually allowing people to see how the garments look on them without moving an inch from where they are, right? So there are some very, very native tools which allow you to try on garments on a very microscopic level. I mean, the level of sophistication and accuracy is very poor on them, right? I think agencies, I must call them now, who have started getting into these smaller aspects of imagery, which is very important for us. And for anybody who purchases garments, I mean, they want to know how it looks, how it'll look on their body type, how it'll look when they're standing, when they're walking, when they're running, and so on. So for us, I think it's definitely going to be a big point of investment, but from a single focus of ensuring first in terms of product imagery and how consumers can get a predictive image of how they would look in it without really making much effort. Post that, SCM is a big one where we're also trying to look at, especially our last mile orders for e-commerce, where our return rates are, the players like Myntra and Amazon are hitting almost say 40-45% at a total level. Fashion, of course, is around say 25-30%, but that hits our P&L very badly. So we need to start looking, and that's another focus area where AI will come into place. Yes, so for us right now, these are the two major focus assets. But yes, I think we'll move when and how the consumer wants us to move. AI will be there; it'll keep getting better, but there won't be 100% use of all the AI that you have. Of course, you'll have to break it across different industries and see which use case works better. But we'll be very nimble on this. We'll be very aware and focus on what's happening in the industry, and we'll adapt immediately to it.
Yeah, I think AI is working for most of the categories of brands. But what about the real sector? What is your biggest challenge at present, even though we have AI?
Sorry.
The biggest challenge
Yeah.
in customer engagement at present.
Okay. Yeah. So I think so there are certain challenges, where technology can help us, where let's say, what we are saying, artificial intelligence, that could help us. So it is basically time to market. So when we acquire a project and then when we launch a project, during the entire, so it takes considerable amount of time to actually launch a project. So that's about 1.5, 2 years, depending upon the kind of project that you acquire. So this is one part where technology could really help us. See the process of acquiring land or a redevelopment project and then launching that for the consumers. During that process, there are various stages. And at times, multiple people, multiple agencies are working on those stages. And at times, most of the agencies work in isolation of each other. So one hand doesn't know what's happening to the other hand. And when that interface happens, at times, there can be conflicting situation or impractical situations which cannot be done. And then again, it goes for redrawing. And then, you have to again redo the entire thing. So that's one point where it is happening. Second point, again, is with respect to the micro segmentation and also hyper personalization of the customers. See how many units of more than 5 crores would sell in Mumbai, barely a few thousands. And such customers, and when we look at, more than 10 CR, more than 20 CR, the numbers can actually come to only about hundreds odd kind of numbers. And those are very, very precious transactions. So how do you personalize how you talk to those customers? So while at times we are using the solutions which are particularly in domain of presenting the property to them, but there may be some technology can actually help us to create more and more personalized communication on the basis of segment of the customer. So these are the two things where I look forward to the technology helping us and helping us to take this forward.
Yeah. So Rupesh, when challenges are there, I think where there are challenges, innovations come in, right? So we would like to know from you, about your innovation, path breaking or something which you did really big, in customer engagement.
Okay. So just a quick background. So we are a company that manages brands' digital assets for anyone with a retail location. So the biggest challenge for us was mapping revenue generation from the top of the funnel channels that we manage, right? Because it gets lost over a period of time. It falls through the cracks, and it was becoming increasingly difficult for brands to understand whether or not they should invest in a certain channel. I think that is something that we were able to crack it through process, through technology aspects, where we were able to track an engagement which was primarily an inquiry, which ends up being a sale probably 1 year down the lane. I think that's has created a difference for us in the market as ProManage.
Very interesting. Now coming to you, Yatnesh, how frequently you need to innovate, to retain or maybe to gain your customers in B2C and B2B both?
How frequently? I think on the daily basis, because consumer needs are never consistent. They changes. No one wants my house. Everyone wants my house should look better than my neighbor's house, and my house should look unique. So now as a brand, we always have a challenge. How can we fulfill these inspirations? Now the innovation happens into the many side. Innovation happen onto the product side. Now the trends keep changing. You see the earlier tables were more square. Now most of the tables are into a round shape. So we have to come out with the product which can be the easily bendable product. Now the customers were earlier looking only for the design. Now they're looking for the some kind of the science behind the design, some kind of the maybe the sometime they come out with their own ideas. Recently we put in the content onto the Vastu Shastra, and the consumption was more than what we had estimated, because consumer are exploring whether it's a science or it's a myth, whether they should use it for their home interior or not. So these kind of the innovation we have to keep doing it, especially for the B2B sector. They wanted the product which their new automated machines can be able to use it. So recently one of the leading interior brands, they have the manufacturing facility in Bombay. They had bought the new German machines. Now they wanted the new product which can be get properly fitted into those machines. So we have to innovate as per the customers, what are the new technologies that they are going to use it. So innovation happen the both the sides, and I think so on to the daily basis, some other new thing which we keep innovating it in the content side, in the consumption side, in the product side, in terms of the delivery side also. So today morning, one of my logistic team member, they inform us how the Odisha delivery we are changing it, because the Odisha has a very vast geography and the state is progressing, and then the new thrust is there from the government side. So they need a faster delivery. We have a plant in the West Bengal. So this new innovation from the logistic delivery. So service side, the innovation is happening. So that's the way the innovation keep happening in through all this process.
So innovations have to be done on daily basis, Yatnesh says. So now coming back to you, Ashish, would you like to share your best engagement innovation so far?
So multiple engagements have utilized our innovative technology, generative AI. So in the space of, say, visual lip sync, in the space of hyper-personalization, in the space of voice cloning, there have been innumerable case studies that we've actually delivered to clients and brands, which are which can be seen. Among the primary ones that I would like to talk about is something that we did when Dream11 wanted to carry out a campaign before IPL last year, and they had all the cricketers, sending out a message, but obviously they wanted to take it out to regional markets as well. Now, obviously you cannot get these cricketers to speak in regional languages, and they used our technology to have that seamless connect with the audiences. That number one. In the other case scenario, with a brand like Britannia, we were able to basically use celebrities like Pankaj Tripathi in media dark areas in UP, get his voice cloned and reach out to audiences with a character called Papa Tripathi, who gives out parenting advice. In addition to that, we also did a campaign with 50-50, again for Britannia, where we cloned Ravi Shastri's voice and got him to speak in multiple languages. Now, in addition to that, like what Rakesh, my dear friend Rakesh here was mentioning, in terms of hyper-personalization, that's also tech that uses generative AI that's proprietary to us and it's developed in-house, which allows your brand ambassador, which allows your MD even for that matter, to have personalized connect with your end users. And that somewhere leads you to a journey where it is a memorable one, where you are utilizing tech to create that relationship with your end consumer, which stays in their mind for a long time. It's not just about having seen a commercial and having forgotten about this in the mix of a plethora of commercials that they might have seen. But this is something that goes a step ahead in creating that bridge between the digital interactions that they have and the physical interactions that they have, whether it is about getting a message on their phone or whether it is about interacting with a brand at the point of purchase. So that's essentially, those are some of the things that besides the HOL case study that I mentioned earlier, is something that I would like to highlight.
Yeah, very interesting. I think next time when I speak to you over video call or maybe Zoom, I would wonder whether it is you or it is just your picture lip syncing AI and all, right?
I would just like to say that it would be very wrong to villainize AI. It is in the interest of brands and businesses to accept it with open arms and see how it can be used for their advantage, and where it can bridge gaps which exist at this point of time. Like in the case of Priyaranjan, in terms of being able to have an avatar which wears their clothes and is able to tell the customer in terms of how it would look, and not have to repent after buying it and go through the entire purchase, the cycle of having to return it back and probably get something else in return. That turnaround time is something which is extremely valuable, which technology can help cut down.
Yeah, very interesting. So coming to you, Priyaranjan, I mean, I would also like to know from you what is the best engagement innovation you have done so far with creators, social media, anything.
Okay, so he's actually stolen an idea which we are going to execute. So we have Kriti Sanan, who's our global brand ambassador, and we've just shot some content with her a couple of weeks back. So CRM for us also is very big. We also get a lot of repeat purchases through CRM, loyalty programs, and the rest. So what we are trying to experiment is a personalized Kriti video where she takes the name of the customer and then says that, hey, I know you love denims from Pepe. Why don't you try our latest range? And that's something that should get rolled out soon. So I'm sure that would be the most innovative idea that we execute with a brand ambassador, personalized messaging through WhatsApp or other mediums. But yes, that's still on its way. Before that, I think the Zomato one and many of these. So we worked even with Make My Trip, because summer is usually about travel. And when you travel, you also purchase a lot of clothes. So we worked with Make My Trip, Red Bus, Go Ibibo, and the rest. Yes, so I think the best one is yet to launch, which comes in the next couple of months.
Very interesting. I look forward to that. Rakesh, I think same question I would like to ask you as well, because
sure, very interesting. So see, real estate is all about customization, especially in the premium category. So we had this one particular unit which was about 15,000 square feet. Now in that 15,000 square feet, the customers were not able to. 15,000 would have a ticket size of about 100 odd crore. More than that, maybe 120 odd crores. And then, how do you, there were people who had that kind of money, but then they were not able to figure out what do they do with that 15,000 square feet home. And then, we had to create, and the spaces were flexible. And then, we had to show to the customer that these are the spaces that you can create in your 15,000 square feet apartment, or in your apartment, which would actually require maybe a 25,000 square feet area. But you are getting all these possibilities by buying just 15,000 square feet in about 120 crores. So you show to the customer, what kind of requires. So you think about that customer, who will have probably a net worth of 2,000, 3,000 odd crores. Then you think about the lifestyle, family, they won't require huge rooms. Maybe, for a family of 4 people, they would have 10 staff or 20 staff. They would have probably a few pets. They would also need to have a recreation room, maybe a party lounge, or maybe a room to enjoy or have some kind of recreation. So we had to create the collateral which could actually show maybe a few intenders. And some of us actually, we didn't know, how the lifestyle of a person with 5,000 crore net worth would be. So it is about, getting into the psyche of that customer, thinking about that, researching, trying to find out, get some foreign examples and all that. So that's the height. I thought maybe, I can just talk about from the maximum level, the height of personalization or engagement.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
Yatnesh, you would also like to share?
Okay, so couple of innovation, but one which is close to my heart, let me tell on that. So we, as a product company, we consume the timber, and but we consume the agroforestry timber, and we are the surplus. So we plant more trees than the number of the trees we consume for the production. So we were thinking, and then we have the very ambitious plan to reach to the 50 million that we reached it into the last December. So we thought, how can we engage to the some of our influencer, those who are into the chain of recommendation. And we went to the some of the architects and interior designer. We created a program called Green Rise, where we started planting trees and then give them the photos, and then they can monitor the growth of those trees, and then it can come. So as an architect, I know the kind of the product which I'm recommending, how much is the carbon footprint is making and all. And then we created an app so that they can track on their journey. It got loved by many architects, and I think now there is no discussion on any New Year gifting or any Christmas celebration. It's more on the how many tree I had planted and then how many tree I had consumed. So that's changed the needle honestly.
Very interesting. Yeah. So now I'm coming back to you. Would you like to answer the same question or should I tweak it?
You can tweak it.
Acha, okay. So most of the consumers, they do not like to see ads. Most of the people are using ad blockers. What kind of solutions are you can offer to them, to the brands? You know,
Okay,
how can we engage them? How can we kind of reach out to them?
there's a lot of ad fatigue right now, right? People are tired, as you mentioned. Personalization would go a long way when these ads are a lot more conveying to stakeholders and their buyer personas. I think that's where the difference in terms of engagement and conversion would happen. And of course, the reduction of ad blocker tools in their browsers, etc. Apart from that, while we talk about personalization, when you're handling a large set of customers, I think you should be able to do it at scale, which is again where AI would play a typical role. And it is important that they feel that something is communicated to them than the large masses. I think that and the time at which they want to see the channel, which they want to see, is something that we need to define. A combination of segmentation and targeting would work if we land that right. That's when I think you'd hit the ads conversion.
I think any question from the audience?